To the United Stand. It's Thursday morning. I'm joined by Paul Ince. We're going to be talking a little bit about West Ham at the weekend because we bought Ince from West Ham. But we're going to be starting off talking about Solskjaer, his lack of an identity, and what's going on at the club. How you doing, Paul?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. Yeah, not too bad. Couldn't find my phone this morning. A little bit ropey. Last night I had a few bevies. But I'm here, I'm back, I'm ready to go.
Right, then let's start off. First question I'm going to ask you. You watched the game on Tuesday. What's the problem in your eyes with Manchester United at the moment?
You know what? I think we since the season started, and you go back to last season, the season before, there's always been this type of false dawn. We think we go forward and then we go back. We even spoke about it on Monday. You think we're like, this is it, we're on our way, and keep the momentum, keep going forward. We had that performance on Tuesday night. And I think with United, it's funny because if you think back to the first game of the season, the Leeds game, the 5-1, and everyone was going cock-a-hoop, and I said, listen, hang about. Leeds suit the way Man United play. They're open, they just want to attack. It's perfect for United. And to be fair, they did the job. And then we had the Southampton game, the Wolves game, disappointing games, disappointing performances. And I've always had this kind of thing about United, and I couldn't understand how we were trying to play on Tuesday. I didn't understand. As you said, we played a lot of long balls. We're playing a team that we should go and dominate, from a passing point of view. But for some reason, we just, I'm not sure what we were doing. I'm not sure what our identity was. And I think this is something that, if you look at Liverpool, you know the way they play. It's City, the way they play. Even if you talk about Burnley, you still know what Burnley's identity is. You know what you're going to get from Burnley. You know what they're trying to do. Sometimes United on Tuesday, I wasn't too sure what they were trying to do. Why are we playing so many long balls? Kind of baffled me. Why was we so deep? That's the team we should have gone and just passed to death, to be fair. And the first half more so was really, really disappointing. And that's all I've said really about United is, what are we trying to do? Are we trying to play it from the back? Are we going to go long? What is it we're trying to do? And I'm still trying to find that answer, because sometimes I think, yeah, this is it. This is United. This is where we're going to go. This is where we're trying to play, and we love it. It's attacking football. We're having chances galore. They're keepers man in the match, hitting the bar, hitting the post, like we did back in the old days. Listen, it was different in the old days because we always played a 4-4-2 or 4-4-1-1. So we knew we had wingers, two midfield players. We knew it was easy to play. That's what we were trying to do. Get it out to the wingers, cross it in the box, score a goal. But one minute we see United play like that, and the next minute we see them play completely different. And it's not a case of being pragmatic, you know what I mean? Because what as in the personnel that you've got on the pitch, you have an identity, and that's the way you play. All the top teams do it, and I think at times, it frustrates me because we go from one game where we think, yeah, this is how we're going to play, and we've got to keep playing that way. Even Liverpool last night, Mark, you know what I mean? Even when it was like 3-2 up, they still carried on playing the same way. They still carried on going forward. You can see what they were doing. But on Tuesday, United, I couldn't see what they were trying to do.
It's weird because I think with Solskjaer, he's come through United. He's been, he knows the United way, and it just feels to me. I mean, look, people might think it's disrespectful. I think the way we're playing reminds me of Tony Pulis, Stoke 2010. I think because but I don't know why he's doing it. And it's like he comes out after the game and he says, 1-0, you think you're going to hold on with 10 men, and you're like, well, hold on a minute. Like, the young boys beat Zurich 4-0 at the weekend, and Zurich had 13 shots, even though they lost 4-0. We had 2 shots in a whole game.
Yeah.
And we had 35 minutes with 11 men. I'd still expect in those 35 minutes, nearly half a game, you might have 10 shots. Not all on target, but, I can sit here and say, look, this is what I would do. But I've never coached in the Premier League. I've never coached in other leagues like you have. I've never played at the highest level. There's many United fans out there watching thinking, I could do a better job than Ollie. Do you look at it and go, not that you could do a better job, because I think that's a bit inflammatory, but maybe you do think that. But as somebody who has coached and played at the highest level, why are we picking people like Pogba and Bruno and Sancho, but not getting the ball into their feet and moving the ball? You mentioned Liverpool. you know, AC Milan last night parked the bus, but still Salah's exploiting the right back and running at him. He's getting space because they're moving the ball quickly. Where is that coming from? Is this just poor coaching, or is it something more?
Well, I think you got to look at it and think, well, listen, you know, when you look at the coaching staff, and I said before, you know, you've got Michael Carrick, who's very still inexperienced. You've got the other lad who's come from the under-23s, McKenna, who's very inexperienced. But, you know, you've got to have a template when you manage a football club, how you want to play football. You've got to look at your personnel, you know, to how you want to play football. But I've always said, even as a manager, even when I went to Macclesfield when we were bottom of the table, you know, I want a certain way we're going to play football. You know, we're going to play quick, fast, attacking football, 1-2 touch, 3 touch around the boxes, you know, get your shots off. Listen, there's times where you've got to have a balance to that, where you defend and you attack. But you're right, you know, we're playing young boys, irrespective of whether we had 10 men or 11 men. Even with 10 men, we're still entitled to go and try and create something or create a chance. You know, we've seen it happen before. You know, it's always harder for the 11 men to play against 10 men. It's always been that way. You know, so, but ultimately, we've still got 10 men against a young boys team that were relatively pretty poor, to be fair. And we expect him to beat them. So, you know, it makes you kind of wonder what we actually are, what we are doing in training, you know, what the players told to do, you know, or is it just a case of, you know, we're going to buy all these top players and there you go, get on with it. You know, there you go, just go and play how you play. You know, but if that's the case, you're right. We still have to have a way of getting the ball to these players in the right areas, you know, in their sweet spot, so to speak. You know, you look at basketball players and they would always talk about, you know, getting the sweet spot so I can put the ball in the net. It's a sweet spot. So we need to get Sancho in those right areas. We need to get Pogba, Fernandes in the right areas. And we have to actually do training practices to get them in that right areas to take it onto the pitch on Saturday. And listen, don't get me wrong, you know, we've seen kind of games where they've done that, you know, but as I said last week, we go forward, 2 steps forward and 1 step back. And then, you know, as I said, it's important to keep the momentum going. We've got a tough game away at West Ham. And you want to go to young boys and get the right result. And now again, we've lost that momentum. And, you know, here we are talking about United again. You know, how where's our identity? Another defeat against a poor team. When we were hoping we'd be saying, yeah, right, another win through to that thing. I mean, they're lucky that Villarreal and Atalanta only got a draw, because you know that's done in their favour, because they're 2 good teams. I watched that game. They're 2 good teams. But saying that, you know, I was just a bit kind of, Wan-Bissaka gets sent off. Okay, whether it's a red, I think it's a bit harsh, but there you go. That's my opinion. And then we need a centre forward, so he takes Ronnie off. And I'm thinking, well, you've got to bring Martial on. You know, who can play that role as an out-and-out centre forward. Okay? And he brings Jesse on, and I'm thinking, well, Jesse is not a centre forward. He's not a centre forward. And I'm telling you now, if Martial would have been up front instead of Jesse, Martial would have been in that position to pass the ball back for them to score, because he'd have been up front as a striker should do. You know, and Jesse's got a natural habit. Listen, I can't blame him, because they're down to 10 men. He wants to get back in that position to help the team out. But the
thing is, though, Paul, you know, also on top of that, who knows whether Jesse had been told to go centre midfield at that point? There was so many weird players on the pitch at this point. Matic was on. I think Fred had gone off. Pogba was there. Jesse was there. It was a mess. It was all over the place, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was all sorts. I mean, but from what I looked, when I looked, as soon as he came on, he went straight up front. So kind of 4-4-1. You know, maybe he tried to use his legs, you know, down the sides, but first and foremost, the ball came to Jesse about 4 times, and he couldn't hold it up. It just came coming straight back. So I want to have a proper striker like Martial who can get it and beat people and get United up the park. It just kept coming back and back and back. And as it said, listen, we all make mistakes. And as much as you want to blame Jesse for that, you know, I don't think he should have been the man to come on in the first place, because I think a proper striker would have been up the park to bring the team up when United get the ball. And it was a shame. As I said, it was a bad mistake, but we all make mistakes. But I still think the personnel should have been Martial rather than Jesse coming on. And you know, it's one of those where you just think, well, all right, we just got to move forward now. We've got a tough game against West Ham the weekend, and it's even tougher now on the basis of what we saw on Tuesday. Now we've got to go and win it.
There's a question here from Joshua saying, like, what does Paul think is more important, implementing a style of play? Is it the coaching team or the players? Sort of develops on from what I was going to ask you. We constantly hear that the United players are very, very happy with what's going on at Manchester United. But you know, you've been a player, and how does that happen? You know, because you've played under Venables, Sir Alex, but you also played under Graham Taylor, and you know, managers that weren't at that level, and maybe the style of football wasn't the level you were used to. Are footballers just very much, look, I'm here to do a job, let's crack on with it? Or will people go, bloody hell, you know, this ain't good enough. You know, we've got all this talent, we're hitting long balls. What's the sort of insight there from the players' side? Do they have to take responsibility?
Yeah, but listen, I kind of one or two things. I think when I retired, you know, I went to Swindon with Dennis Wise and Gus Poyet. And I thought I'd play a couple of games there. You know what I mean? I was struggling. So I played one game on the Tuesday night against Milton Keynes. And I thought, I'm not sure about this. You know what I mean? Why we were playing football. On the Saturday afternoon, it was roasting hot. And I kept coming to the centre half to get the ball so we can go and play. And he kept launching it. I thought, for fuck's sake. You know what I mean? So got in at half time, and I said to Dennis Wise, that's me done. That's me not playing football ever again. What do you mean? I said, I'm retiring. I said, I can't keep fucking... Honest, true story. I said, I can't keep trying to get the ball to play and the centre half keeps launching at OZ. So if that's what you're telling him to do, then I'm no good for this team. All right? So the point what I'm trying to say to you is that if you've got a certain way of playing, if you're going to play long ball, like the United did on Tuesday, go and get Peter Crouch or Andy Carroll or Chris Wood or something like that. You know, but they've got players in to say, this is the style we want to play. And these players are the ones who want to play in that style. My job, you know, is to, as a winger, as I'm Sancho, is to get the ball, beat one or two players, try and score Greenwood or put into Ronnie. That's what my job is. But I can't do that if the system or the way we play doesn't allow me to get on the ball, to create. You know, and that's what I'm saying. They want to create chances. Ronnie wants to score goals. If United are not creating chances, not playing a certain way where we can get the ball in the right areas, then that has to come from the manager and the staff. They have to create that. It's not the players don't create the system or the way the team plays. It's the manager goes, right, this is our template. This is what we want to play. We're going to play with quick wingers. We're going to play with a nice little 10 who can beat players, who can find the space, and we're going to go out and get these players. So when you do your recruitment list, before the season starts, or in January, you go, right, we need a player who can do this. We need a midfield player who can strong, who can cover the ground, who can break up attacks, who can set up attacks, get 5 or 6 goals a season. This is the one we're going to go and get. And it all fits into like a jigsaw. You know, all fits into that. And that's it. Then you've got your team, you've got your formation, you've got the way you play, you've got your identity, and you keep doing it. You keep playing it. You know, so it's not down to the players, it's down to the coach and the staffing to say, right, this is how we're playing. Whether the players like it or not, this is how we're playing, you know, and that's it in a nutshell. The players will have no control about how United play. It'll be down to the staff and the manager.
We've been in this situation a few times. I mean, Europa League final loss, you know, very pragmatic approach. You know, we've just seen the game against Young Boys. I think the thing that you know, look, obviously you're going to get the Ollie in and Ollie out crowd. For me, I don't really have a lot of time for that sort of conversation because it's just too. It's too either way. I think what the thing that bothers me is that this is happening quite a lot, and I do worry about Solskjaer's leadership skills to be able to, you know, it just happens too many times. You'll have a good result, and then we'll go and have a result like that. Is it? I mean, I just feel that we're a little bit too. I just think he's a bit too defensive. I think he spends too much time thinking about the opposition instead of building a style of play. Do you think, you know, we've got someone like Cristiano Ronaldo in the team now? Will it get to a point if this keeps happening where players become, you know, you sort of have a word with the coach? Because people think that Ronaldo is such a big player, he won't put up with it. And I've said, well, I don't know about that. You know, he's a massive player. I mean, he was stood up on the touchlines. But does it get to a point where a player goes and says, look, you know, this is it? Or does a player just go, you know what, I'll leave, thanks. So, you know, I'm not going to do that sort of thing.
No, listen, I think it's one of those, I think it might be a captain. I think, you know, you're sitting down as a captain myself, and you probably sit down and just be having a conversation, and the gaffer might come up to you and say, Paul, what happened Saturday? How do you think it went? And I might say, yeah, it was okay, gaffer. I think maybe might need to play a bit more expansive and maybe a bit more open, maybe so. I don't know, you know what I mean? But that's, if you want my opinion, that's what I'd say. I wouldn't say that's what you have to do. But if you ask my opinion, I'd say, but in my case, the lads maybe want to. It's just like when you think about Mourinho. When Mourinho was there, and we were very, very defensive. The part of the bash, remember, and then everyone was saying, well, the players were coming out and saying, well, there's no freedom, we can't play the way we want to play. And then Ollie came in and kind of released the shackles, and all of a sudden we were winning games, and it thought, oh, great, everyone's playing with a bit of freedom. And now, for some reason, we've kind of gone back to that now and then. Not always, because there's been games where we haven't, but we seem to have gone back to that, where there's more of a worry. I just feel that, we are talking about an inexperienced staff here. We are talking about an inexperienced manager. Yeah, he's been there for 3 years. But they are inexperienced as far as the top manager is concerned. And I think, Mickey, what's Mickey Feeling's role? What is Mickey Feeling saying? He's the senior party of that. He's probably the one who advising Ollie, or what's Sir Alex Ferguson saying? Ollie said he speaks to Sir Alex Ferguson a lot. What is Sir Alex saying to him? So I think.
Do you think he should revolutionise his coaching setup, because it is all very mates rates? You look, Klopp's got a better coaching setup, Pep's got a better coaching setup, and Tuchel's got a better coaching setup. If you're driving a racing car, doesn't matter how good Paul Ince the driver is. If your car's not as good or hasn't got the wheels or the engine and everyone else, you're never going to catch. A lot of people feel that Ollie surrounded himself with his mates, and actually he should surround himself with competent people who are going to help him, United perform better.
Yeah.
Because 3 years is, you're right, they're inexperienced, but at what point? 3 years is probably longer than the average Premier League manager gets. Yeah,
true. And that's obviously down to Woodward and the relationship they've got. And, I kind of do agree with it. It's like the boot room boys, you know what I mean? You even think bringing in Darren Fletcher as technical director. I mean, for me, what is that? What does he do? I'm not sure what these people do, but you're right what you're saying, that he seems to have people around who are his mates, who he can feel he can trust. I'm not going to stab it. Sometimes it's one of those, Marky, when you kind of bring in people who are competent, as you say, you always kind of, it's a good thing in a way, because you fear for your job, because you don't know them. If things don't go right, and we've seen it so many times where a manager loses his job and the number two steps in and takes the job. Maybe he doesn't want that feeling around him, but I would as a manager, because it keeps you on your toes. It means you've got to keep getting results week in and week out. But sometimes you need that experience. Someone, maybe like a foreign coach who plays a certain way. Bring him in. Because I'm not sure how much Carrick is saying or doing. We're not behind the scenes, so we don't know what's going on. But what we do, we see, the results.
We see the final product, don't we?
We see the results on a Saturday, or a Tuesday, maybe it be. So, Ollie can say, well, we're trying to do this, we're trying to do that, we're trying to do this. But we need to see it from a consistent point of view. So whether we bring someone else in, I don't think so. I think it is, we've got what we've got, but we also know that this is Ollie's team now. And, I'm not one to say Ollie should get the sack. I don't think that's the case at all. I think riding high in the Premier League, we started off really, really well. It's one defeat, and like anything, when it's Manchester United and you lose a game, and I know that more than anyone, all of a sudden, it's the worst thing in the world, and you have to bounce back ability. It has to be on the weekend. But he's got his team now, and that's all I will say. At the end of the day, when you've got your team, there's no excuses. You've got to bring silverware home this season, whatever it may be. Because if you don't, then Ollie will be under pressure, and he knows that. He knows it as a manager. I know that if you don't get results and you spend the money, then you're going to lose your job. But I think it's a bit early to be going down that road. Yes, it was disappointing on Tuesday. Yes, we need to see more consistent performances like we saw against Leeds. It's not always easy, because Leeds are different to most teams in the Premier League. But we just got to know how to have a way of breaking down teams. Teams are going to come to United and put 10 behind the ball. City have been doing that for years. Even Pep for years, where teams have just gone to Barca or City and just put 10 men behind the ball. But they still know how to break it down. They still can break it down. Liverpool can break these teams down. As soon as we got 10 men behind the ball, we can't break them down. because we haven't got a style of play to break them down. We haven't got movement. We haven't got people moving people away so someone can get the ball or creating space, and it all works like a well-oiled machine. It's not that. It's like we're like a team where we just hope for the game changers to change the game for us. One bit of magic from Greenwood or Ronnie or that's what we are at the moment. We're a team with great game changers in it, and that's exactly how I look at Man United at the moment. We're not a team who's playing flowing football. We're a team of game changers.
Well, you look at that goal that we scored on Tuesday night. I mean, to be honest with you, you can't coach what Bruno did. That pass took 4 players out. That's not passing drills. That's a world-class player producing a world-class ball, and that gets you the goal. And I think, you're right. The result itself, you will lose games. There's loads of games. Even when you played for United, there'll be results where people go, oh, my God, United have lost. But we'd always know the style of football your team had, the style of football the 99 team had, the 08 team. I think Ollie, what he needs to take on board at the moment is not that, you're always going to get the Twitter crowd going Ollie out, this, that, and the other. But what he does need to listen to is the fans who probably are very supportive of him, but are going, this ain't United. The football we're playing. And that's for me, that's more important than losing games. It's your identity. If you lose a game, but you've played the way and it's just not gone your way, or the ref or the red card, you go, that's bloody annoying. But when you're losing games or even drawing games, playing the way we're playing, that would be my biggest concern. I just hope you can see it.
Yeah, listen, I mean, to be fair, and we all talk about, numbers, stats now. That's what we always talk about. I fucking hate stats. Sometimes it's a lot of white noise. But when you talk about 2 shots in a game against a young boys team, then surely sitting down in the changing room or the staff meeting, they must be thinking, how can we get more goals? How can we get more people in the box? How can we get more attacks? How can we put in the sessions where we can get the final third? How quick can we get it in the final third? And you're right what you say. United fans don't mind losing. We lost loads of times when I was there. But I guarantee you, if you looked on the stats board, it'd say United 24 shots. Keep a man and match. How's he missed that one? How's he missed that one? We hit the bar, hit the post. We get beat 1-0, 2-1.
I was watching that the other night, the 95 game against West Ham, where Blackburn, it was on the telly, wasn't it? Fever pitch. They're talking about that. We were an Andy Cole finish from winning the title, but there was loads of other chances as well. It just didn't go in, and everyone was gutted. But it's like he couldn't do any more. It's just he couldn't get the ball in the net. And
that's what I'm saying. Fans, especially Man United fans, because when a team has been brought, fans have been brought up in a certain style of football all for their lives, all through these generations, and then all of a sudden they know when it's not this type of football they want to come to and watch, because they know how United play. It's exciting, it's attacking, it's full flow, it's creating chances, it's winning 4-2, things like that, or winning 5-0 like we did against City when I was playing at Old Trafford. That's what the fans want to see, and we haven't seen it. We've seen it one game against Leeds. We were fortunate against Southampton, and we should have got beat against Wolves.
Yeah.
So we haven't really seen us play well to a certain extent consistently. And again, young boys, we didn't play well again. So you look at that and you think, well, there's 3 games here where we haven't seen United play the way they should. And Ollie knows that. Ollie's been at the club. He's played at United. He knows the DNA of Manchester United. He's now getting the players DNA of Manchester United, and yet they're not playing that way. So, I think they've definitely got to start, improving in that respect of how do we get more players into the box? How do we get more attacks? How do we get more shots? I mean, 2 shots it's pathetic. We still
not even on target. It's just 2 shots. They were both on target. One of them was a goal, but we had 35 minutes before the red card against a team like that.
Yeah. I mean, you look at the Liverpool game last night, and we were just talking about it off air. Within 25 minutes, they should have been 4-0 up.
I think they had about 4 really good chances in the first 8 minutes.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying to you. And you think, well, why are United not going to young boys having 4 or 5 great chances?
Tempo, isn't it? Intensity. It's just we start games so slow. I mean, that's nice. I mean, we're just talking about West Ham now. We've got West Ham at the weekend. We actually signed you from West Ham, so you know what West Ham are all
like. What a great signing that was, eh? Great signing.
Well, are you the best signing we've bought from West Ham?
Of course I fucking am. You know what I am?
Hold on a minute. Let me just have a think. I can't think of anyone else. I'm going to get in trouble now. Did we get some reserve goalkeeper from there? Something like that.
Oh.
I'm joking. No, he was a very, very good signing. Very good signing. I was thinking of Carrick came from Spurs, didn't he? I'm not saying Carrick was better than you, but no, 100%.
No, he wasn't.
It was from Spurs via
It
West Ham.
wasn't better than me anyway.
No. I wouldn't mind either of you at the moment. Bloody love either of you at the moment. I mean, that's what we're missing. That is what we're missing. I was going to...
Carrick wasn't like me. It was different players.
You'd probably play well together, wouldn't you, really?
In
the modern game, he could sit and then you could be box to box.
Yeah, I like that idea. I'd rather play with Keeney or Robson, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or Gaza.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, that's a good point, actually. We're playing West Ham at the weekend. They're doing very, very well.
Mm-hmm.
They're a good team. They're well organised. You know, ex-Man United managers doing a good job. Yeah. They've got a midfield with Declan Rice and Solskjaer, but they've got no Antonio at the weekend. He's suspended. It'd be typical of United to bounce back and win that game. But how do you think Ollie approaches this? Because he's probably not going to go there and play high intensity, high tempo. He's going to say, let's keep it tight. Moment of brilliance, keep a clean sheet, win 1-0. Or, you know, how do you expect this? Because the midfield is the problem. I mean, people thought Fred played well on Tuesday. I think he just played better than shit, to be honest.
Yeah, Fred did okay. But he should have been playing against young boys. You know, people said Fred played well against Manchester City or Liverpool or Chelsea. And you go, yeah, hold your hands up. Well done, Fred. But they're playing young boys.
We got Tevez from West Ham.
No, he was done that. I'll still bet the better signing.
I'm only joking. I'd take you over Tevez every bloody day.
So yeah, listen, he played well against an average team, you know, and I mean, I think we're lucky that Antonio's not playing. I think we really, really are, because he's been absolutely outstanding this season. And it is a tough game. West Ham are playing well, and you know, you go back to David Moyes and think, you know, he didn't get a chance at Man United, did he? When you think about it, he didn't get long enough. We talk about Ollie having it in his third year. You know, Moyes didn't get long enough at all. And what he's showing is what a very good manager that he is. You know, he really is. He's got West Ham up and playing. You know, they play a kind of, you know, different style too. You know what you're going to get when you West Ham. You know, they defend deep, they get back in their shape, and then they play from there. But with Antonio not playing, you know, it might dilute them a bit as far as that's concerned. But midfield, you know, Declan Rice, I thought was outstanding in the Euros. It looks like he's kind of stepped up the gear. Gone another gear, Declan Rice, this year. I mean, he's been brilliant in midfield. I know those rumours we're going to try and sign him at United. You know, he'd been perfect. You know,
this is where the game's going to be won and lost. Well, not necessarily, but that midfield battle, I'd worry about United.
I've always stated that, and Alex has always said that. You know, if we win the midfield, 9 times out of 10, you're going to win the game because you control it. You know, you've got more of the ball. You get more ball to your attacking players. That means we have more attacks. You know, so you know, it's one of those where it's going to be an aggressive game in there. You know, it's not going to be a passing game. You've got Souček, you know, 6'3", you know, likes to put a foot in. So does Declan Rice. They've got plenty of legs. And we're going to have to match him. You know, we're going to have to match him. I just think it's one of those games where we have to bounce back. We have to, because, as I said,
we need to win.
Sorry?
We need to win.
We need to win, and that's what we're saying, and that's what United normally usually do. You know, any top team, when they get beat, has to come and bounce back and win a game, and it won't be easy. I still fancy we'll go and win it, but I just think from West Ham are playing really well defensively. They've got some good players. They're a big team. They're a big team, and if we're going to sit back,
McTominay's going to come in, and McTominay's nailed on to come back for that.
Yeah, of course he is. You know, I mean, does he? I don't know. I've got a feeling he might play Matic. You know.
Oh, I thought, I think we played better with Matic. What did you think about? What did you think about subbing Donny off? You know, 45 minutes. I actually thought he did well, and then to me, just you've said it yourself. Yeah. He's picked him on Tuesday because he thinks it's an easy game and he can get away with it. He's not part of his plans, is he?
Absolutely no chance. Listen, you know, he tried to make the player happy. I said, you know, that listen, it's always tough when you don't play to come and give an impression, you know, on your first start, you know, and you know, to sub him off at half time, it just sends it. What's it say to us? What's it say to the fans? What's it say to Johnny? You know, that if I can't get a full game against young boys, you know, 10 men or no 10 men, then it's time for me to go. You know, I and there's nothing that Ollie can say that would persuade me to, you know, fill up my speeches at Manchester United. I wish it was, because it's the biggest club in the world, but he needs to go and play football. And as you said, McTominay back now. Matic, who I like. He's got Fred. You know, he's never going to not play Fernandes or Pogba. They're always going to play. He's got Lingard, who can play in that role now. So the signs are there, you know, and I expect him to be gone in January. You know, whether it's a loan, they won't recoup the money that they paid for him. again, another one of the great recruitment players that we got at United, who's not worked out. So you feel sorry for him because he looks like a nice lad, looks like he wants to do well, looks like the ultimate professional. And he must know now that the writing's on the wall, unfortunately.
100%. I mean, which way do you think it's going to go on Sunday then, West Ham United? Obviously, it's at West Ham.
They're always good games, West Ham United. The West Ham punter's always up for that game, and I think the atmosphere is going to be electric. It's one of those, Marky. We don't know what we're going to get from United. As you said, we've seen so many times where they start slow in the first half. We talk about the away record that they have. A lot of those games have been 1-0 down or, they're 2-0 down and they've come back and, grind out the result. So I just think if we don't start quick and we find ourselves a goal down, I think the way West Ham play, I think we'll struggle. We need to start fast. We need to start on the front foot. If we do that, then I think we'll get the 3 points. So, and that's the sad thing about it. We are sitting here now, me and you, and we don't know what we're going to get from Manchester United. We should know what we're going to get. We should know what's going to happen because we sit week in and week out. We know what we're going to get from Leeds the weekend. We know what we're going to get from Liverpool the weekend. We know what we're going to get from Burnley the weekend. But for some reason, we don't know what we're going to get from United. And this is what the fans are saying, inconsistency of our performances and how we're going to play. So if we play the way we want them to play, then I expect us to get the 3 points. If we don't, then I think West Ham will beat them.
I think that's right. I think it's absolutely spot on. It's not necessarily the results. It's the fact that we sit here and we never know game to game what Manchester United we're going to get. And as you say, even Leeds, who are like mid-table, they know what they're going to do. Burnley know what they're going to do. Brighton know what they're going to do. Brighton fans know what Potter's going to do. As United fans, is it too much to ask that we know what one of the greatest football clubs in the world is going to play like at the weekend? I mean, all right, he might rotate a couple of players, but I don't know what his midfield's going to be. I don't know what his front four is going to be. And I don't know, more importantly, I don't know what style of football he's going to play. And that is shocking from a Manchester United manager. And he needs... The thing is, though, Paul, I don't know how well you know the running of United, but what I know is that there's nobody above the manager that's going to pull him in the office on a Wednesday morning and say, bad result last night, Ollie. Your job's not in danger, but can you tell me why we're hitting long balls? And I'm telling you, that's not the United way. So what is the plan? I've given you the players. Why are we not playing good football? Now, that'll happen at City and that'll happen at Chelsea and it will definitely happen at Liverpool. But at United, they're all bankers, aren't they?
Yeah, listen, they are. And you're actually spot on. I mean, Edward was not a football man. He's a businessman, and very good one at that. But he's not a football man. So above Ollie, you don't obviously the Glazers. I know obviously they tell up when Ronnie's playing, you know what I mean? But you don't obviously see him. So apart from Ollie, there's no one to say this, that. I had to answer to the director of football or the CEO or the chairman. If things ain't going well, you always had these meetings.
Well, that's what a chairman traditionally used to do, isn't it? Whether it's Ken Bates or whatever, they sack a manager because they're watching the team every week and they don't like what the results are. It's
exactly.
done. It's not a bloody shareholders meeting or something about how many shirts we're selling.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is, even when I was at Blackburn and managing there, and we were getting beat a lot of times, and but we weren't getting beat 3s or 4s. It's just by the odd goal. And I remember having a meeting with John Williams, who was a chairman there, and he was saying, "Paul, listen, results ain't great, but we're playing some good football. We're getting beat by the odd goal, like the way we're playing and all that stuff." So even though we were getting beat, we're still playing to a certain style. And I think, whether Ollie gets asked that question, I don't know. But what we know is that he knows he's been at United long enough.
He should ask it himself.
Yeah, Ince or Mickey Phelan who's been there. It's just what are we trying to do? How are we trying to play? If we want to play that way, how are we going to go about it? Have we got the right coaching staff to go about it? It's okay having a young lad, Kenner, from down the 23s. Are we going to try and play like an academy team? Pass. The amount of times we pass square is unbelievable. Even when we do pass the ball, we go square, back. We don't take risks. We don't play risk passes. We don't play passes where if it gets cut out, they're on the counter-attack. But if we get it through, we're in. And as soon as we get it in, we've got the red arrows and we're flying forward and bang, here we go. We don't try those risk passes. And it's going to be interesting because if we don't get a result, we don't get that performance, then people will start asking questions, what are we actually trying to do? And is United just about game changers, the big stars making things happen for us? So I presume if we win on Sunday, that would be the case. It'd be a game changer. It might be down to the way we played.
One thing I wanted to ask you, have you had any, you know, from a personality point of view, we had Teddy Sheringham on and he was like, you know, I never would have thought Ollie would have been a manager. He's done a good job, but he's such a nice family guy. Have you had any interactions with Ollie, like personality-wise?
No, I haven't. So listen, I mean, Ollie, no, definitely haven't. I'm not sure I've ever met Ollie, you know what I mean? But you have this kind of, when you look at him and you see the way he speaks, he's very, you know, he's very softly spoken, and you know, can you imagine him standing up and, you know, having a go at Ronnie or Paul Pogba? Probably not, you know what I mean? But then again, you know, he was called, you know, a deadly assassin.
Silent assassin.
Silent assassin, so you don't know with Ollie, but...
You might put salt in your tea when you ask for sugar or something like that.
But all I know is that as a manager, you need to have strong people around you. You all can't be the same. You all can't be all, you know, I had Alex Ray with me as my number 2, and he was a tough midfield player. And if people were around or he wanted to say, he'd have no problem saying, you, digging people out. I didn't have to do it. You know what I mean? But he would do that.
It's a great point, because you look. I mean, again, I don't know what Carrick's like and McKenna are like, but they don't come across as strong, aggressive. You know, that's not acceptable, sort of thing. Which maybe we're missing that.
Yeah, and it's also a lot of it's all down to Ollie. Sometimes he needs that support and X around him. And as I said, as much as, you know, they are inexperienced, this is the biggest club in the world. You know, when things go wrong, can Ollie rely on them? No, because they haven't got that experience. You know, when I went to Macclesfield, I took Ray Mathias, who was 20 years older than me, but he had the experience of League One and League Two. When things were going wrong, I could sit and talk to him and say, "How can we?" You know, you need that helping hand. Are they the right supporting hand for him when things ain't going well? You know, and to take the team forward. You know, I think we'll soon find out. Listen, it's great that they're there. You know what I mean? You know, it's a wonderful job from, you know, all of them. But, you know, we need to see some results as far as how we're trying to play, and we need to improve on that. And as you said, if we get beat, we get beat. At least get beat having a go and, you know, and trying to win the game. Sometimes I think we're too scared about losing and actually going and trying to win it. And we see
that's nail on the head there. I think we do approach games not wanting to lose. When we're Manchester United, we should be putting fear into them. It's been a great chat as ever, Paul. I've got one more thing to say.
Please.
Paul Ince, best signing from West Ham for Manchester United. Wasn't direct, but was a West Ham lad. Rio Ferdinand. Silence.
He signed from Leeds.
Yeah, but he was from West Ham. Via West Ham to Leeds, wasn't he? Then United. No,
it don't count. Even that, it was still me. It was still me. You know what I mean? We hadn't won a title for 26 years until I got there. Think about it that way.
That team should have won 3 titles in a row. Bloody Andy Cole! I couldn't believe I remember the day. I don't remember it that well because I was very young. I was watching it again the other night. I was like, bloody hell, Andy Cole!
I can't watch it. You know, I mean, to fair, we knew that Liverpool, Blackburn going to Liverpool was always going to be a tough game. Going to Anfield is always tough.
Yeah, that to be fair, it was disappointing, but Liverpool beating Blackburn really shouldn't have happened, should it? You'd have thought Liverpool would have gone, nah, we'll give you the point. I can't believe they beat them. Redknapp was a good free kick.
Yeah, Jerry Redknapp. I think, you know what? I think it's funny though, isn't it? Because we all thought that Liverpool just going to probably change 5 or 6 players. They ain't going to want us to win the title. But I think as a player, you can't think that way. You know what I mean? And you know, you always kind of worry that if the manager says, "Listen, Paul, I'm not going to play today because we want, you know, Blackburn to win the title," and you go, "Okay," and then 2 years later you leave the club and you say, "Oh, the manager told me to do this," and then so I don't think a manager will ever say that to a player, but we actually thought before we walked out onto Upton Park that Liverpool going to fucking throw this. We've got no chance, you know what I mean? And then it made it even worse that they won. I'd wish Blackburn had beat them. Yeah. You know what I mean? I wish Blackburn had won because it made it worse when we found out that Liverpool beat them, and we had some chances. And going back to West Ham, you can imagine I was devastated, fucking devastated. But c'est la vie, you know, we did all that for the rest to follow. So that's why I'm the best signing from West Ham, Marky boy.
And that's it.
End the subject.
End the subject. End the show. It's been a real pleasure. I've really enjoyed it, Paul. I hope everyone else at home has. And we will let you get off and enjoy your golf. I know it's going to be a lovely day.
It's a lovely sunny day in the Wirral. Going to hit some golf balls, a couple of glasses of wine, and back for the Napoli-Leicester game. Sounds like a great day.
How the other half live, eh?
Someone's got to do it, Marky boy. Someone's got to do it.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you coming on, mate, and we'll speak next week.
Yeah, let's hope it's a good conversation. Let's hope we talked about 3 points, eh?
Definitely,
and a good performance. More than anything.
Good football, definitely.
Cheers,
I'll speak to you in a bit, mate.
Cheers, Marky. Take care, mate.
You too.
All right.
And big shout out to everyone for watching as well. Oh, I've come into the screen now. Let me have a look. Settings. Oh, God, I've got caught out myself now. Bam. Bam. I'll tell you, I feel like I've had a few beers last night, but I didn't. I think I've just got hay fever again. I don't know. Really enjoyed the show. Make sure you smash a like on the video. Ollie's got his press conference today for some reason, so we'll be reacting to the press conference around 2:30, 3 o'clock today. 8 o'clock show as normal. So yeah, his press conference has been brought forward. I don't know why he's doing that, but yeah, it's be interesting to see what he's got to say. But for me, we said it all yesterday. Paul said it there. Interesting chat. It really is. It's not about the loss. It's about the style of play, and I feel quite frustrated when I see the conversations going on in the chat and also on social media, these arguments going on between Ollie in and Ollie out. I think on this channel and on this community, we're not even talking about that really. We're talking about something that everybody should be talking about. What is our style of play? Why are we playing such pragmatic, reactive football? Why are we going to young boys, going down to 10 men and parking a bus? Why are we going to go to West Ham at the weekend and potentially think, oh, that's how they play. Let's play in a way that stops them. Like we're Manchester United and Liverpool and Man City and Chelsea, home and away. They're basically going to do the same thing. The only time they might change it is when they're playing each other. The toughest game of the season. They're not thinking about how Norwich play or how bloody AC Milan play. They're going to go and play their own way because they've got an identity. We need a bloody identity. And that's why the questions we were talking about there were really interesting, because it's like, what are we doing on the coaching? Why is it not happening? And if I was Ollie, I'd be saying, look, I might not do the coaching, but Kadeki, why are we hitting long balls for half an hour against young boys before we go down to 10 men? We've got to play a better brand of football. And that's what the conversation needs to be about. Why United playing like this? From the Glazers to, Paul Pogba, everybody in that football club should be asking that question. Why are we playing such shit football? Like, why are we not creating chances? And everybody else can go and create, Zurich can create 10 chances against young boys. We can only create 2. Leeds can get beat, but still create loads of chances. We're not creating chances. Whether the result, look, sometimes you're going to win, sometimes you're going to lose, but we are not creating enough chances because we are not playing good football. Why are Manchester United playing such bland football? And if I was a journalist in the press conference today, I'd be walking in there with some stats and saying, you had 2 shots on target in the whole game against 2 shots in the whole game against young boys. These are the stats about your strikers. You're not creating enough chances, Ollie. Why are Man United not playing like Manchester United? It's a very good question. Anyway, look, thanks everyone for watching. Speak to you all very soon. Have a good day and take care.